Okay, all right. Good morning, everybody. First off, thank you for joining us today. I think this is honestly, if you have an issue that you need a resolution to, engaging elected officials is the surefire way to get a resolution, but you have to do it correctly. Now, that doesn't mean you lose any of the passion for what you're trying to accomplish. You got to come in and tell them the absolute truth, because some of the problem with elected officials is that they have so many people between them that are blowing smoke at them that they don't know the truth in many cases. So it is incumbent upon you to step in and lay the truth out in front of them undeniably, so that they do not have the ability later on to say, well, nobody ever told me. I don't know. I didn't know. So with that, let's get to this. I don't hear any. I don't hear any sound.
I'm gonna talk about you, kind of.
Can I hear?
Can we back it up so we can start again?
Recent meeting about renaming school.
Now I hear it.
Confederate General Robert E. Lee. So I had intended to get up here and talk about how racist Robert E. Lee was, but I'm gonna talk about you, kind of. Sitting over there shopping while we're talking about Robert E. Lee. This is a picture of you shopping while we talking about racism and history in this country. Only white members of this board got up while we were up here talking too, because you don't give a damn, and it's clear. But I'm gonna tell you what the slaves, my ancestors, said about Robert E. Lee, since you don't know history, sister. Let me tell you that they said when he got the plantation, after he got off the field where 27,000 people died at Gettysburg, Connie, Robert E. Lee was a brutal slave master. Not only did when he whooped the slaves, he said, lay it on them hard. After he said, lay it on them hard, he said, put brine on them so it'll burn them. That's what Robert E. Lee did. And you set your arrogant self in here and sit on there shopping while the pain and the hurt of the people of this community is on display, because you don't give a damn and you should resign. You should have resigned 2 years ago when you choked a white man in his house. You should have resigned 2 weeks ago when you got on TV and said foolishness. And you should walk out of here and resign and never come back, because you are the example of racism in this community. Chairman.
Say it, Gary.
Mr. Walker.
Unmute, Steph.
Sorry. All right. I'll repeat myself. I don't think you can get much more truthful than that. So let's get to this first question. What was the problem with Connie's demeanor at the board meeting? Anybody?
It was very aggressive.
You're talking about.
Wait, Conway. Wait, is Connie? Wait, which is wait? Which one was Connie?
Board member.
Oh,
sitting there shopping.
like she didn't care. Like she didn't care what was happening.
Yeah, does everybody understand what the issue was? What was being talked about? Yes. All right, I see a few yeses here.
So, Steph, you have hands up. So, Amara has a hand up.
Okay, Amara.
I was gonna say that her demeanor was very nonchalant, as if like it wasn't a matter that was of importance to her. And it's clear that if the person that was talking, it's clear that what he was talking about was he was passionate about it. And I feel like no matter what the situation is, if someone's asking for your attention, no matter what they want to talk about, you should give them your undivided attention, especially as a congresswoman, I guess. Like, it's your duty to listen to what the people have to say and react. And if you're shopping while someone's talking to you, that clearly shows you're uninterested in what they have to say. Okay, thank you, Jada.
Very good. Dead on. You're absolutely right. These people are put in places to serve you. They are classified as public servants. So their job is to ensure that your community, that whatever institution they're over, is serving your needs. So if someone's sitting up there and you're telling them there's a problem here, that I'm not getting the service that I believe I need out of this institution, they need to be 100% focused on what you're telling them. And if they're not, you're right. It's disrespectful. And they're not doing their jobs. Can anybody tell me what she should have been doing in your estimation? Go ahead, Mr. Pacheco.
I think she should have at least, no, not at least, she should have absolutely given him her undivided attention. Because like you said, it's disrespectful, especially with what her job is and her position. She should have absolutely been listening to him and not been shopping on her phone.
Agreed. Zach?
Hey, before Zach answers, Steph, can you also check the chat? Because sometimes the kids type in the chat because they don't want to disrupt.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. I messaged you, but I don't think you saw it. But go ahead, Zach.
Got it open now.
I think that she should have paid attention and actually should give her attention to what was being said and at least have an understanding of what Mr. Chambers was feeling.
Agreed. How about she should have been taking notes? How about that?
Yeah.
So that brings up another point. When you're presenting, ensure that you present them with a written
Statement.
Thank you. A statement or summary of the issues that you're presenting. Because that way, nobody gets to walk away and say, oh, well, the tape accidentally didn't record, so we don't know, we don't have a real record of what you said. Reduce it to writing. That's one of the number one things used to hold people accountable to addressing your issues, is reduce it to writing. Why do you think? Let's move to the second question. Does anybody have any other questions or statements? All right, let's move to the second question. Why do you think?
Sorry, in the chat, someone said Lana has a great question. I don't want that to go right.
Okay, where is it? I'm sorry. I'm still Lana.
Her comment says, her job is to serve the people. How is a nation built on the idea of free people supposed to run without listening to the people?
That's a really good question. I think for years we have been it goes back to the issue of, and let's be real, of slavery, that we were products. We were tools and instruments. We didn't have a voice. We were simply to do what we were told. And what we were given, we were supposed to simply accept with gratitude and move forward without asking questions about it, without complaining about it. But these are not those times. So that's why it is incumbent upon you that if someone is purporting to serve you and it's not serving your needs, sound off, speak up, raise a hand. I need better than this. And if they won't do it, you find other people that are interested in that job, and either you do it or you get behind someone else that is willing to serve your needs, and you help them seize that office. Because I don't need you there if you're not helping me. It's that simple. So let's get back to, why do you think Mr. Chambers was bothered by her conduct, by Connie's conduct? Go ahead, Sammy.
Because she wasn't listening to what he was saying and what his message was. He was putting through to his message.
Very good, Sammy. Would you be bothered if someone, like right now, if you were talking and I turned and did this and I was busy focused on my first place, would that bother you?
Yes.
So you shouldn't accept anything else from anyone else that is purporting to engage with you, offer you a service, whether it's direct or indirect. If you just live in a community and you're in your parents' house, mom and dad are paying the mortgage, paying the rent, paying the bills, paying everything else. But there are people that are that should be working on your behalf, that you shouldn't give a pass to. You at this age should be looking at what's going on in your community. Are there things built up in your community or not built up in your community that you see in other places? And let me ask this. Have any of you ever seen something in another community and wondered, why don't we have that where I live?
Yes.
Anybody? Okay, now here's the question. Who'd you ask about it? Or who are you going, let me rephrase that. Who are you going to ask about it? Because there are taxes being paid in your community, just like everybody else's community. So if there's something somebody else has, Zach, I'm gonna shut up Zach, what do you got to say, brother?
Well, I was gonna say, you don't really know who to ask because not that many people know. Because you ask your parents, they might even know the answer to that.
Okay.
So in my opinion, you might have to like ask someone probably if you could, like in the school board meeting, why you have one thing in this community, or like the county, you have one thing in this community, but not the same in the other community. Like someone like who has power over over the cities and stuff.
Okay, so is that let me ask, do you guys think it would be valuable for BYLP, BBSN, BGSN, and what's the other one, LP? The Allies group? Would it be valuable for us to create a question and answer that could help answer a question like that for you, to guide you? Because look, one of the numbers.
We're gonna go over it tomorrow.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, let me shut up and move on then.
You're fine.
But it's, and I'm sorry, I get lost in my own thoughts. But the reality is you have to sound off. You have to hold people accountable for not doing what they're supposed to be doing. I think we already covered, would you have been bothered? Now let's ask this question. Should Connie lose her job for what she was doing? I see a lot of yeses. I see one bye-bye. Okay, now, since we know that everyone believes that she gotta go, as living like Lana says, how do we go about ensuring that people like that are no longer in a position where they're supposed to serve us? Anybody? And if you don't know, that's Sammy. You got your hand up?
You could like raise rallies or something to vote against them.
My man, Sammy.
Get them out of their position.
Okay, I gotta ask, Sammy, how old are you, brother?
9.
My man. Yeah. Hey, we gonna put you on the track, brother. Cause at 9, man, you're way out further along than I was at 49. So you keep at it, baby. You keep doing your thing. Brilliance. And don't ever let anybody tell you you can't shine.
Thank you.
Zach, I see your hand up, brother.
You could sign a petition, like create a petition and go around your neighborhood or like post it online, post on social media to sign a petition so she can get voted out.
That's a possibility as well. Like I said before, understand that people in elected positions only have a certain window of time. They serve for 1, 2, 3, some are 5 years. But make sure that you know what that time frame is, and then make sure that you're cycling up in the community the support you need to get either yourself or someone else to run for that job. And make sure, this is the key, register to vote. I know some of you are old enough. I know some of you, I see mom looking at somebody, I ain't gonna say who. But make sure when you become eligible to register, do it. There are men and women that look like all of us that died without the opportunity to be able to do that. And I know it sounds cliche, but it's a reality. There are men and women that suffered, that were beat, had dogs sicked on them, just to have the opportunity to walk into a polling place or get, as we're all going to do this year, get an absentee ballot and check down those boxes of people that they either believe are going to support them and their communities or not, to voice an opinion about it. So I'm gonna get off my soapbox and we're gonna move to the next slide, because I want y'all to see y'all's president, my president, Miss LP, speaking truth to power.
Did I miss the discipline data, like what we're trying to do to fix that issue for Black students in your district? Did I miss it? Was I not here the last time this report was given and I asked about the discipline data? Did I miss the presentation on that? I must have. It was at a workshop? Was it a public workshop? So that was during the day when I was at work?
Oh.
So this is the problem. I mean, I think it's great that you have a program specifically focused on refugee kids. I think that's amazing. I want one for Black kids. You have an issue with Black students in your district. They need some special attention because they're at the bottom statistically in every category except discipline, where they're the highest. They're one of your smallest groups. And I know everybody likes to talk about it's a Black and brown issue, but your brown students outnumber them by what, 3 times? Your Black students should not have comparable numbers to that of your Latino students or your brown students. That means there's a problem somewhere. So I want a same working group, what I see, nurturing awareness and acceptance. I'm gonna need that group too. I'm gonna need that group for Black kids, and I'm gonna need a budget to fix some of these issues specifically that Black kids are having in your district. I need some directed resources to the issue of discipline in your district. I want y'all to stop wasting my time coming up in here with this grab bag of tricks, talking about everybody when one specific group is having a huge problem in this district. Nobody wants to talk about how racism impacts your discipline numbers. No one wants to talk about how you have Black flight in terms of your administrators and your staff. They're leaving here. Stockton is having a pickup game with your discarded administrators. We need to talk about some things. And we can't do that if we're focused on everybody. So I'm going to need a specific presentation that looks at the issue Black people are having in this district, Black staff, their sense of belonging, the sense of belonging for Black students, and how we're going to fix that. I'm going to need that soon because I'm getting frustrated. And I feel like I've been a great partner to this district. I show up, I'm consistent, but it's starting to really piss me off that what I'm talking about is not being talked about.
Oh my. Can I just drop the mic now and walk away? Because if you need a better example of how to stand and advocate for yourselves, then you weren't watching that last video. And I know I got questions I'm supposed to ask about this, but let's be real. Is it, yeah, let's get to the questions. Is it a pervasive issue? Is it something that and here it is. Has this been going on for longer than you've been alive and it still exists? Anybody, our little history thing, all of those issues still exist today. And part of the problem is we don't stand up together. We got, and no disrespect to my Latino friends and all the other minority groups, but they stand together. They unify, and they use our numbers. They use the harm that is inflicted on our youth to bolster their cases. When are we going to do that? When are we going to stand up like LP did? What are you going to do in your school to say we don't need to take this any further? This is where it's going to stop. And hold people accountable. And I know I'm way off of this thing, but let's get back to the question. How
No, you're
how
not. You're
many?
not off. These are guiding questions. This is your workshop. You do what you want to do. These are just
Oh,
prompts. You.
L.
No, no.
Oh
But
my
we're just
goodness.
trying to help you. Help you. But this is your workshop. You can do whatever you want to do.
Well, what I really want to know is let me ask this. How many of you feel like you're getting what you need from your school district, from your teachers, from your classes? How many that just raise your hand? And this is not I'm not trying to shame you. I'm just curious. I see you. Okay. Now, the crazy thing is, I would normally say, what are you doing about it? But the very fact that you're here right now and that you're engaged with BYLP, BGSN, BBSN, and what is the allies thing, L? I don't want to keep.
It's BAASN, which is BYLP's Allies to Abolitionist Support Network.
That's a mouthful.
It is.
Call
it Bassin.
Bassin. Okay. All right. But the very fact that you're here indicates to me that you have an interest in bringing address, in not accepting the status quo. Because the status quo for us is poverty, illiteracy, disenfranchisement, underrepresentation, and the list goes on and on and on and on. And actually, what was the workshop the other day where we were asking them to give words that teachers or administrators or people were associating to them?
That was the introductory one where we were trying to get to know our students better.
Okay. I started a word cloud project on that. And we need to change everything, all of those words I just rattled off. We need each one of you to step in and seize one of those words and put a stake in it and say, no more. No more. This won't stand in my community anymore. It's not acceptable for anybody that looks like me, that thinks like me, that lives near me. Because if you leave it to the status quo, if you're simply content accepting what they give you, remember we talked about what they give you in their benevolence, you're going to get the scraps off that fall on the floor, not even what they toss you. Because they're making no concerted effort. I mean, look at the reality of how long our communities have been underserved. Our people that look like us have been underserved. If they had an interest in changing it, they would have already. It's Frederick Douglass that said, power concedes nothing without a demand.
And are you looking in the chat, Steph? You have a couple
sorry.
of comments from the ladies. And I think for the students, I think that he would like you to talk to him. So if you could unmute when you're ready to talk, that would help him because he's not looking at the chat. Y'all are having a whole conversation in the chat. And Steph is like, y'all ain't gonna talk to me?
Yeah, look, I'm an auditory person. I mean, I read a lot, but it's focused, and so I'm an auditory person. So talk to me, please. I want to know what you're thinking. I want to hear the brilliance that I heard the last couple of days.
Yeah.
Please share it with me.
And so they're having a whole conversation about the honors and AP classes. Some admin don't take us seriously enough to believe we are ready or prepared to take those honor level AP classes. Then Jazz was saying, respect to be seen and heard, not dismissive towards the questions I have. I guess that's what she's looking for. Jazz, you can clarify if you need to. And the question that was asked to Jazz, how are Black students shamed in high-level classes? And then Jazz says, I dropped out of all my honors classes because of the daily comments the students would make in front of the teacher, and the teacher seemed deaf to it. You definitely should have called me. I don't know what you was waiting for, because I like to visit classes. I like to take off work and come see about y'all. So we're not going to let that happen again. So there's a whole conversation going on about those AP classes. But what I would posit to the group is, what are you willing to do about it? How are you willing to bring those issues to the forefront? Because we already talked about the other day that there is a power imbalance for you as children to try to take on these teachers. So you need parents like me that'll stop what I'm doing and come and see about you, or allies or mentors, or however you want to put the title on them. You need people who will come in there and go head up with your administrators and your teachers. I'm that one, but I am only one. So what are you willing to do? How are you willing to document this treatment so that when you do have the opportunity to connect with adults who are about that life, that they know exactly what's been going on, how long it's been going on, the emails back and forth, the teacher asking her to change her behavior. Like, that's something that you all can do now. So I'll be quiet, Steph. I'm sorry to take over your.
No, that's all good. Let's get to Amira, Ms. Hill.
Okay, so I just wanted to talk about an experience that I had personally, like with my AP classes. So I'm a rising senior, so this last year was my junior year, and I had decided to take 3 AP classes. And one of them specifically, AP Bio, in class, like, it was sort of like informal, I guess. So we weren't like, I don't know how to explain it, but anyway, I would like make jokes and I would say like, oh, you know, the teacher should give us extra credit because this class is so hard and all this. Like, it was all in a joking manner, and I was doing well in the class and I wasn't really struggling, but it was all jokes. And so it was actually the week of our finals, and I had already taken the AP Bio final. And so myself and a friend were called after class, and the teacher was basically, she called 3 other teachers. So there's all my 3 AP teachers. It was so herself, my history teacher, and my English teacher, all AP classes. They sat me, myself, and another Black girl in a meeting, 3 white women. And basically they were like, we were being disrespectful, and that that's no way that we should talk to a teacher and all those sorts of things. And first of all, I have no problem with respecting adults. Like, I have complete respect for all adults. And she never told me that what I was saying or what I was doing was hurting her. So how am I supposed to know? Like, just automatically assume that the things that I'm saying is affecting you. And then one of the things that she did say specifically was because right before the final, I had came the day before to the class, and I asked her, would she be willing to come early? Because we started our day later, an hour, and I was like, would you be willing to come at 8 o'clock so I can come and like just get some extra study time before it starts? And she was like, no, I'm not coming any earlier. Come to find out, she did come early, and she was mad at me for not coming early. And I was like, but you told me yesterday that you weren't coming. So all of that. So we had a very long conversation, and they made me apologize to her. And I was like, you know, I didn't mean to do that. And then one comment that stuck out to me specifically was one of the teachers said, if you don't feel like you can handle taking 3 AP classes, you should just drop them. And for me, that was really hurtful because, for one, I was acing those classes. So it was like, what do you mean I can't handle it? And then she was like, and other students are doing better than you, and they're doing fine, so what's your problem? And at that moment, from like what I knew, there was only one girl that was doing better than me. and I don't want to like compare. So like that really like hurt my feelings personally, because it was like, that's what you see me as, just, you know, another girl, you know, that doesn't care about her work. And I was working extra hard in all of those classes. So I was like taken aback and I was so confused. So I went home and I told my mom, because I was like, I did not like their tone. I didn't like the way that they talked to me. I wasn't disrespectful at all in the meeting. Like I did apologize to her and I didn't say anything out of line. But like once I like really took the time to just sit back and like really think about the things that they said to me, I was really hurt. And so I told my mom, and my mom ended up going to the school, and that kind of got handled. But it was weird because all three of those teachers were there. My mom was like, okay, so, you know, where are the teachers after, you know, they said that to my daughter, and they didn't want to come outside. And it's like, you had all this to say to me and my friend, but when my mom came, nobody wants to come. So one of the teachers ended up talking to me, and she was like, I believe in you. And I was like, but that's not the same thing you were saying in the meeting though. So yeah, that was just one of the times where I felt like, and like, that's how I know that, you know, it's just, you know, like, I guess I just got like a clear view of what is people really think of me. And it's like, I worked so hard to not, you know, I do all my work. Like I never turn in late assignments. I never turn in missing assignments, like none of that. So it was just, I don't know. And the fact that I worked so hard and you still question my ability, like that was disrespectful to me. But yeah, that's it. That's all.
Where are you at, love? Where are you at?
At my school?
Yeah, where are you at located? Where are you?
Inglewood, California. Okay. But yeah, it's over now.
But see, the situation is over. The lingering effects are not.
Yeah.
Okay? We see that. We hear you. And before y'all leave this week, I want to make sure that each of you are connected to our Black Girls Support Network or our Black Boys Support Network, because we want to make sure that we keep a hold of you guys, because this is something that is pervasive. That was intentionally done to harm you. And they better be glad I wasn't in Inglewood.
But we can be.
We about to be. We're doing a BYLP SoCal chapter. It's starting this fall. So I don't want you all to suffer in silence because you feel you have to be resilient when these evil, vile adults want to come after you. I like to come after people. So you're not by yourself. Know that we see you. Like when you're starting to emotionally react, when you're recalling a story that's hurtful, that means it's not over for you. It might have been a period for those teachers, but for you, you're still trying to, in your mind, negotiate how you can present yourself in a different way so these people don't say these things that they're saying to you. And it was not you. If you don't understand anything else, it was not you. You are not defective or deficient. You are beautiful, intelligent, and the problem is you were outperforming everyone else and they had to knock you down a couple pegs. All right? Understand that. That's all of y'all. We see the assault on you and we're not taking it lying down anymore. Just know that. And I want to make sure you and I get connected after this call, okay? I'm going to come see about you. Sorry, Steph.
It's all good. Hey, Pacheco, I'm going to get to you after I get to Miss Branch. I'm sorry. I can't read. But I do want to say to Miss Hill, look, don't worry about what people's perception of you is. As a teacher, they have an obligation to abide by, again, the written documentation of the work that you're providing. Now, I'm not saying that you get to go into class and just act a nut because you're a genius, but if what they're saying is contrary to the evidence of what you're doing, then that's a conversation they need to be having with your parents or some other external advocate like like LP and BYLP, BGSN, BBSN, that's a conversation they need to be having other than with you, especially 3 adults. They should have known better, and they should be reprimanded or whatever process to correct their behavior for the future. That's not, as LP said, that's not a you issue. All right?
I have a question.
Who are we?
It's Jazz.
Jazz, go ahead.
So when you say don't let it affect our mental, I kind of don't understand how not to let it affect my mental, because it's out there, it's said, that's what they perceive me as, and I have to be in this class for a whole year. So it's like, it's kind of hard, especially if the teacher keeps reoccurring and like reminding you about what they said, and then the words just sometimes just play in your head. It's kind of hard not to mentally like be like strong kind of and have like a Lorraine mentality. It's hard living in that every day. So I'm kind of just asking, like, how do you make it better? Because I know there's no way to stop it, because you are human, you have feelings, but how do you make it better? Because it just reoccurs, and it just comes out the blue sometimes, and it's never like completely like you're trying to explain it as like.
So who told you not to let it affect your mental? Who said that?
That's what I perceived from what
Oh,
he
you
said.
just said that.
Yeah.
No. And I think what he's saying and what he's trying to convey, of course, I didn't hear because I had to take a break because I was really angry watching Amara still go through the after effects of being in this public school system. What I will say is we know that these things affect you. I am not a subscriber of resilience, because I think that that's their way of getting away with traumatizing you. I don't expect you to be resilient. I expect you to be human. And I know that there are emotions with that. What I would say is that if you are encountering this type of thing, you need to go and find an adult who is willing to go in there. And I can do that unemotionally, or we can, I match energy. So you decide how we about to act today. And so I think that it's more so about letting you know that you have the absolute freedom to be a free Black child and to have the advantages or whatever it is that you want to do, as long as you're taking care of business. Now, if somebody continues to harm you and harass you, you need an adult to balance that unequal power structure that you're in. They did it because they can. And we have to show them as your parents and allied adults that they cannot, because the after effects, even though a situation may be over for them, you guys deal with the trauma of the after effects. And that is what we need people to see. We don't need them to continue to do things to you and think that because you're resilient, it didn't affect you. We're trying to blow the lid off of that to show them, no, wait a minute, because they're still children. And they do have these feelings and they have these emotions. And the fact that she was recalling a story, and I can't remember how long ago she said it was, or maybe it was last year. How long ago was that, Amara?
Yeah, it was last semester. So like December.
Okay. So last semester, she's recalling a situation that was so harmful to her that they just went on about it. But she, when talking in a group that she feels safe, think about how long she's been holding on to that. Think about how long she's been holding on to that and not being able to be in an environment where she felt safe enough to say exactly what was bothering her. You guys have become her safe space. Honor that. I saw in the chat, we got your back. We're here for you. God bless you. All these things. Y'all need each other. And that's what this is about. We need to create this safety net for you all. So when you're experiencing things like this, we can know about them and we can help you mitigate them. Because a lot of times our parents are at work. You know what I mean? And so we honor that. And we know that we have a specific type of story. We honor that. But unless you say something we don't know how to best serve you. So I just wanted to, Jazz, I don't expect you not to have emotions. I know that they affect you, but the thing is, we cannot allow things to affect you to a point that 6 months later, 9 months later, like the other day, y'all was even bringing up stuff from second grade. Like, it doesn't go away. You know what I mean? And I'm not laughing because it's funny. It's just ironic to me that folks think you're so resilient that you don't remember these constant microaggressions or explicit bias because it's not implicit anymore. And so we see that. And I just wanted to say that, but no, we expect you to be children. We expect you to be full of emotions and hormones. We expect all that. What we don't expect is for you to be treated less than. And what we're not going to accept is for them to treat you less than. The gig is up. And I'll be quiet because
So Jazz, if I know that's what I said, but that is not what I meant. I mean exactly what LP said. You are absolutely valuable. You are brilliant, and what people say about you is an opinion of theirs. You maintain your perspective of who you are. And if you need people like us, like as Elle said, to step in and bat for you, we'll be there. I'm going to move on to Miss Branch.
Hello. So, I know there was a question out there about like what we wanted to do about it.
Speak up a little bit.
You still can't hear me? Can you hear me now?
Little more.
Can you hear me now? I know I think it's low.
Go ahead.
Okay, so also I'm an incoming senior as well, and I took a pre-calculus class, and the teacher, I was warned about the teacher in previous years, and I had specifically asked, like, my counselor not to put me in that class, but I guess the way my schedule works, I ended up with her, and she made it like it was unbearably hard for whatever reason, and it's just I'm like a straight A/B student. Like I've never gotten anything below a B ever, and in that class I was failing in D's, F's, like on tests, and so I went to my mentor and I was talking to her about it, and I went to my counselor and was talking to her about it, and I found out that I wasn't the only one saying these things about this teacher. Like there was multiple students coming to the counseling office talking about this teacher, and so I took it upon myself to, I need to do something about it. I'm gonna go to tutoring to see if maybe it's just me not understanding the material. Maybe it's not her. Maybe I just need to pay more attention. I go to tutoring and she doesn't help me at all. She brushes me off. She's like doesn't want to look for the answer keys so I can study. She doesn't do any of that. So it's just like when it comes to those questions, like, okay, well, what can you do? It's just hard to say, like, like I'm trying, but what else can I do? What else is there for me to do? And she's still here. This has been reoccurring since before I was even at this school, before my freshman year. Like it's been reoccurring. So it's just like in that situation, what more can I do?
Well, I think this goes back to what we were talking about earlier, ensuring that we have people in positions that are over teachers, and I have the ultimate respect for teachers because I don't want to be one. I love y'all dearly, but but I think that we have to ensure that people above them are servicing us. So they're monitoring, engaging, and responsive when students such as yourself say, hey, there's an issue with this teacher. There's a problem. And especially when it's a historic documentation of it. And that's the piece where I think we've done a disservice to ourselves is that we talk amongst each other, specifically students talk amongst each other about this teacher, but because of what LP said, that power in perceptional, and it purely is a perceptional thing, a power imbalance, we never reduce things to writing and say, hey, this is the problem in this classroom. This is why it's a problem. So that when the next student, if they don't fix it with you, which, let's be real, sometimes it's not gonna happen that way. The next student that does exactly what you did, somebody says, wait a minute, okay, one time might be an anomaly, 2 times, 3 times, oh no, we gotta fix this. But if we never get that person in front of the people with power that we've put in place, they continue to do what they're doing because it's the status quo. They're perfectly comfortable with it. So I'm not saying that you should just suck this up and go along by any stretch. I'm saying go talk to a school administrator, talk to an external advocate like BYLP, like LP, to say, hey, Madam President, I got a problem over here in this school. And I'm pretty sure at that point, there'll be more eyes on that individual teacher than they are absolutely comfortable with. And that behavior, people do stop doing things for one of 2 reasons. Either they have a self-imposed moral compass that says, I don't want to go that way, I don't want this to happen, I know what the repercussions can be, or they get whacked. And they go, oh, that was uncomfortable. I don't think I want that to happen again. So it sounds like that teacher needs to be whacked. I see Jada's hand up, but can I get to Mr. Pacheco first?
Yeah, just after Pacheco, we'll be able to play the last video. And
Yeah.
I know it's a great conversation.
Wow, I'm sorry. Okay.
It's okay. Pacheco can go. We have one more video.
But
Okay.
really quickly though, it's 12 o'clock, going on 12 o'clock, I think.
3 minutes.
I need y'all to grab some food. So do you guys want to close down right now and grab food, or do you want to keep going and grab a snack heading into 1 o'clock? What do y'all want to do? Give me a hand clap in your boxes if you want to keep going, or give me the thumbs up if you want to go grab some food. So I got some folks who want to go grab food. So I'll tell you what, the folks who want to go grab food, turn your cameras off, go grab your food and come on back. Go ahead and go grab your food for those who want to go grab food. And the rest of you who want to stay, go ahead and stay on. We'll keep going. Thanks, Steph.
Hey, I'm a newcomer and can y'all hear me? I'm a newcomer and I'm in California. I just heard about this meeting that's going on right now. And I'm a behavior specialist with the Monterey County Office of Education. And what the gentleman, Mr. Stephen Walker, just talked about, we talk about a call to action. Every school has board meetings. So if teachers are acting the way they are, you want to bring that attention to the board meetings, and that's just going there, and also contacting the press too. So you want to expose that and bring things to light versus keeping it within.
That's right. Like I said, eyes. That's right. That's the reason people keep doing things that they know are contrary to other people's best interests, is because they think other people don't see them.
Correct, because they hold the students accountable, and students need to hold the teachers accountable because they go in there to get educated, and they're supposed to apply that education. So it's a contract amongst both.
That's right. So I'm gonna get to Mr. Pacheco. And then I think there was one other person that had their hand up, and Chloe. But Chloe, can we get to you after the video? Because otherwise Jada's going to kill me.
It's Chloe and Trinity with their hands up.
Okay. Pacheco?
All right. I'm gonna keep this short in the favor of time. So that's what makes me really, that just makes me really mad how adults with power are treating these children. One way, they're treating them like they need to be adults, they need to be a grown human, they need to act responsible like an adult. And then over here, behind closed doors, they're treating them like children and they're telling them all their faults. And it just makes me think, like, well, what is the child supposed to do? Where is the child supposed to go? Like, they don't know where they need to go. And then you can, yeah, but sometimes they can't get there. And then other times when they can, they feel sometimes afraid to, because they're afraid of what might happen to them.
Understandable, but that is one of the components of what we're trying to instill, is that you have a voice, and using that voice, I know this sounds crazy, but it's part of the fabric of this country to be able to speak up for yourself. Now, part of the issue is that African Americans, that Black people in this country were, as I said earlier, supposed to be seen and not heard. But these aren't those times. So use your voice. And if you need someone else to voice the sentiments, the pain, the discomfort that you're feeling, that's what BYLP is for, to be able to stand up for you and say the things that you may not be comfortable at saying yet, or that you can't put in concise formats. That's what BYLP is for, is to stand up and be your advocate. So with that, Chloe and then Trinity, we're going to run this video real quick and then we'll get to you, okay? So don't lose your train of thought. Jada?
High schools where you wasn't supposed to learn that. And let me give you a quick history lesson. Why?
The school board, and he really just lays out a case even more for Afrocentric schools. Let's roll the clip.
You know, I went to one of them poor high schools where you wasn't supposed to learn that. And let me give you a quick history lesson. Why? Things don't tend to work right for African Americans in Fort Bend ISD. One, you don't have a Black agenda. You don't know what you want. You don't know how to get it. You leave that left up to people who have oppressed you for over 400 years. So here's your history lesson. Why we keep talking about Brown versus the Board of Education? What is it that those people did after Brown that you support right now? It's called school choice. You bamboozled my people with school choice and magnet programs. They sucked you in, made you think this is where your child is supposed to go. Now, when you did that, you took your child out of a high-performing African-American school. You sent them over there to the white dream. He didn't get the scholarships that they were promised. His GPA wasn't right. And now you got to figure out what to do with the Black school. You can't figure that out because your intentions were never right. They were never right. As a Moroccan or a Black man, yesterday was a real important day. We live in Dr. King's dream, right? We're giving kids an unequal education in 2019. We're segregating high schools in 2019. You separated your communities where it's Black and it's white in 2019. But you have the audacity to speak of a man who died on a concrete slab at the Lorraine Motel. And you sit here and you play with these people. You don't want me here and I don't want to be here. But for 6 years, I kept telling y'all, if you can ever prove me to be a lie, then I would leave. You can't prove me to be a lie. Let me tell you, you got to walk in quorum. The reason your schools are failing, I did an open records request. Can you tell these people why you got all these uncertified substitute teachers in all your schools? That's how a school fails. How do you close them? You flip principals every 2 or 3 years. You remove
30
programs.
seconds.
You don't give them the funding that they deserve. I'm not leaving. I'm going to cause problem after problem by just telling the truth. And come Thursday, I'm going to tell the truth about that Title I that you've been getting, that you ain't gave to them schools. You are in violation of federal law. And now you own my clock.
Thank you.
Okay. Man. Oh, man. Okay, let's get to the first question. Why do you think Mr. Monroe filed an open records request? Anybody?
Talk out loud. Don't put it in the
Yeah.
chat. Talk out loud.
Come on.
Do the students know what a public open records request is?
I was gonna say, I don't know if someone else wanted to go, but I was gonna say probably because I think a lot of times we never know how like the school board spends the money or like what they spend it on, because it's like I don't know how much it costs to run a school, but I know that the school gets money every year. But it seems like the schools in the district don't really improve. Like they might paint the buildings or something, but it's no real improvement. Like it's the same books for the last 10 years. It's all the same things. So I think, and it's hidden from us to know like what, yeah, I'm sorry.
No, don't apologize, Ms. Hill. You are absolutely right. That's the reason a lot of these institutions continue the status quo, as we just talked about. The reason people keep doing things that are not in service to you is because people don't know. My people suffer and die from a lack of knowledge. Well, yeah. If you don't know that somebody's getting money to give you X and you're content with Y, then they're going to keep giving you Y, and whatever the difference is that they were actually getting for X, they're going to apply to something that they feel is valuable, not something that's valuable to you. So it behooves us all to know how things are funded and then where that funding is applied, especially if it's a service to us. So a public records request will expose how, where, why that they're supposed to be utilizing those resources. It'll tell you how many teachers they're supposed to have, whether they were supposed to get new equipment. It'll tell you, it'll run the gamut of the services that are supposed to be provided to you. And I just realized, let's get to Chloe. Are you still here?
Yes.
Okay. What was your question?
So it wasn't really, it was a statement. So it's kind of it's a story, kind of like what happened to Amara, but like different. So I'm going to be an incoming senior too. And so 2 years ago, my sophomore year, I was on my school's varsity volleyball team. And then I got pulled up to CIF to be on for our varsity basketball team too. And so like, I'm very big in sports and all that stuff. And so a week before my birthday, which is in June, so like May, the last week of May, we had our school volleyball tryouts. And I was really, really, really close with my head volleyball coach because she was also my PE teacher. And so I was able to spend like a lot of time with her, and she was like someone I looked up to and I could like confide in. And I was actually talking to one of my basketball coaches, and I was, you know, complaining because I couldn't make it to both practices because even though the times like lined up perfectly, I'd injured myself previously in the year and I'd almost like not been able to play sports anymore. And so like I can't go back to back 5 days a week for like 4 to 5 hours because I'm like physically unable to. And so I was talking about that and how I just feel like the coach made it just harder for me to be able to go back to back because I personally cannot do that. And there were times when I was like, couldn't even walk. And she made me go get dressed for practice saying like, she's tired of hearing everybody's excuses. And so I was like, whatever. And I actually had to do extra that day. And so I was like, whatever. I went and talked to my head basketball coach and we'd come to like a understanding about everything that had happened. And while I was doing that, my head coach went to ask my other basketball coach what was wrong with me. And she told her like what I said. And my volleyball coach came up and she yelled at me in front of my basketball coach. And I was basically being like degraded. And I was led down a path where I was just like, just say this and she'll stop. Just say this and she'll stop. And so that's what I did. And it just kept going and going. So I went home that night feeling like what happened was my fault. And I didn't tell my mom because I was ashamed of it. And I was like, whatever, I'll just go tomorrow and I'll apologize for what happened. It's fine, fine, fine. So I go in the next day, which is our second day of tryouts. And I apologized to her for it. And she was like, it's fine. I accept your apology. I am talking to Courtney, who is our assistant coach, about it. And we'll figure out what to do with you. So I just go about our second day of tryouts, doing whatever I think is necessary, like I have to do. And then like tryouts end and I'm like packing my stuff up. And she was like, Chloe, can you come meet me and Courtney in my office? And I was like, okay. So I go and I meet her in her office. And at first she's talking about like random things that don't even make sense with what we are talking about. And she was like talking about like club volleyball and how I'm playing a different position than somebody else's too. And then she brings up the event from the day before and she tells me how I brought her integrity into question and it made her character look bad and all this stuff. And I'm like, oh my God, I didn't mean to do this. And she's just like going on and on and on about it. And so then her and the assistant coach tells me that I didn't improve as much as they thought I would improve being pulled up to varsity as a sophomore. And they were like, and I mean, some of this may be our fault since we didn't play you, but you didn't really improve. And I was like, well, after every game I didn't play, I was like, what can I do to play? Like, what can I do to get better? And they're like, there's nothing you can do really. It's just a mental thing. And so you have to work on it mentally. But then they're telling me now that I'm just not improving at all. And so I was like, whatever. And so they gave me the option during that meeting that I could either cut myself from the program completely or I could get moved down to JV, which is like to us and all my friends, that's like that doesn't happen because I was brought up as a sophomore. And so I was like high up there as a younger person. And I was on this really good team who did really well. And so this doesn't happen. And so then, I mean, I remember being in meetings with my team and I had like all the other Black players telling me like, hey, Chloe, watch out, this coach is racist. Like they would give you experiences and they're like, but I was like, oh no, I want to judge her for myself. I don't think she's racist. So then I go and I tell my mom what finally happened and she was like, oh no, this is not okay. And so then she sets up meetings with the coach and our assistant principal and our AD, and we're in these meetings and I have to explain what happened. And my mom was like, just gonna say something that was like, oh no, we don't think that she's racist. And like, she brought up that people had said this and she finally like goes off on me and my family. And she was like, well, this is what you expected here. You can have your spot back on the team. I might just quit. Yada, 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 just yelling at us in front of all these people. And so then we just kind of like had to keep dealing with it. And I like decided this past year during this, when we actually had school, that I wanted to try and play my senior year because I really liked the sport and I couldn't even like watch the games with my friends playing without like feeling something. It was really bad. And so I went to have a meeting with her because this is what I have to have meetings with her to like, okay, I want to play this year. I want to do this. And she was like, well, it's not really a big thing anymore. I kind of forgot it. Me and Courtney don't really care about it anymore. It wasn't really that big of a thing. And we see you around the school and we're like, we can tell that it still affects you, but it wasn't really that big of a thing. And so we're totally okay with having you come back next year. Just know that the people who play your position that we replaced you with, basically, they're really good. And so you might not get your spot back, and you can't even, yeah. So.
Can I just make a comment like really, really quickly?
Yeah.
I just wanted to say, first of all, I'm really, really sorry that you had to experience that. I just wanted to say, just like highlight the fact that like in both cases, it was an ultimatum. Either you leave and, you know, you feel bad for leaving because it's something that you really want to do, or you stay here and you suffer and you have to worry about, you know, what people think about you, because no matter, like at the end of the day, I feel like our teacher, our coach, like all those people are like the ultimate judge, and like what they say, no matter what we say, it matters. It's important because it's our life on the line. You know, with sports, that's really important to you. With school, that's really important to me. And so it's like their opinion is always going to matter. So it's like, and then the way that she just sort of like dismissed you and your feelings and was like, it's not that big of a deal to me anymore. Like it's a bigger deal to me.
And my thing is that, like, if I would have stayed and gone down a team, I would have gone with a coach who I knew did not like me. And she told me I could have lost my spot to like an incoming freshman. And if I would have left, I would have had like the summer that I did have, because I did leave. But if I would have stayed on the team, I was at the point where I was like, do I want to keep playing volleyball as a junior, or do I want to possibly, because I'd won a summer internship at a molecular biology lab at USC. And so I either gave up my internship or I kept playing volleyball, which is like my passion. So.
Okay. Can I jump in really quickly? So what I'm hearing is that there was something that occurred with you physically that limited your ability to perform at that high level with taking back-to-back courses. I hear you.
Yes, I strained both sides of my groin and moved my hips out of place.
Okay. And
that happened the summer before, and I like kept going, but I couldn't go like back to back like they do during summer.
Okay. And so what I also heard you say is that you attempted to advocate for yourself, and you found who you perceived as a safe adult to advocate to. What I also heard you say is that adult betrayed your confidence and went and said what you said to this other teacher who took offense to what you said. Did I get that right?
Yeah, kind of. Okay. It was like I saw them both as safe adults. And then the one who I had been talking to before, it's just that she does a different sport. And when the other coach went up to her, she was like, oh, what's wrong with Chloe? And like, she was asking what was wrong with me, because they didn't know I'd been like really sick that week. And so I looked sad. And so, yeah.
Okay. So I hear that someone betrayed your confidence. And then I heard you say that, instead of them listening and caring about what you were experiencing physically, that they began to retaliate because you had the audacity to question what was happening. Did I hear that right?
Kind of, yeah. I asked if I could not practice because I couldn't walk. And some people were like, I can't practice, I have homework. Somebody else was like, I can't practice, I don't have this. And I ended up coming last after all of them. And I was like, I can't really walk right now. Can I just not come? And she was like, no, go get changed. I'm tired of hearing everybody's excuses. Then I had to go change. And because I have to wrap my hip, it took me extra long to change. And I was late. And because I was late, I had to run extra and I couldn't walk.
Okay. So this is what I'm going to say as someone who gives a crap. Do not sacrifice yourself for these people who don't give a damn about you. Now, had we had a meeting with your administrators, first of all, I don't do white women tears. I'm not really moved by them. I don't care what they want. My job is to come in there and to make sure you have everything that you need to be successful. So they probably wouldn't have been going off on me because I match energy, and normally people don't want to go through that. The second thing I would say is don't be afraid to lose your spot. Losing your spot should not be over your well-being and the health of you right now. Because had you continued to play at that level, you may be permanently disabled.
Mhm.
I need you all to put yourself first sometimes. I need you to put yourself and your health first, because these adults, they're living their glory days through you. Can we talk about it? Most of them probably can't even run anymore.
Well said. Well,
So we're not going to keep playing this game round and round. I'm not willing to lose any one of you because of somebody's ego and their desire to win. Winning does not negate that we need you healthy and whole, because you have futures. Okay? Y'all feel me? Trinity, your hand is up. I'm going to be quiet.
Mine is kind of like Amara and Chloe. I don't really talk about it that much because, you know, I don't know. I talked about it recently with my family, but so I came from a different school district. I used to live in West Sac, and then in middle school, I transferred to Elk Grove Unified, and I ended up going to Eddy for middle school. And so when I was going through that whole process of transferring, my mom was trying to like figure out the classes that I was supposed to take, because, you know, Eddy's a MYP school and like LC's a IB school. So like we were trying to figure out the classes I was supposed to take, and we talked to like office officials, counselors and stuff, because they were saying, so what ended up happening was they were saying like, oh, the classes are different from where you were, and like Common Core and all this other stuff they were talking about. And so my mom was like, so what do you guys recommend we do? And then they were like, because there's honors classes, and I was like, I want to take honors classes. And basically they ended up steering me away from honors classes because they said that the curriculum was different and that I wouldn't understand it. And so my mom was like, okay. And what it really affected for me was math, because I ended up taking honors English only because I was in Avid. And so they were taking, they told me to take math 7 instead of math, like the accelerated program or whatever. And so I ended up being in math 7, and my mom and my dad and my stepmom were like, you know, this doesn't seem right. Like, what is math 7? And so after 7th grade year, I ended up taking math 8 because that was the only class I could take. And what I want to also say is that they knew that I was like a very high achieving student. I never got a grade lower than a B, maybe a B plus. I always had like great grades. And so 8th grade year, I became like really focused on my high school path because I want to go to a good college and all of that. So I ended up talking to my counselor like every day. I used to go in there and I used to like write notes about different things. And so I was asking her like, what do I do? Because I want to take full IB in high school. And she was like, you know, you can't take full IB because your math is behind. And so I was like, well, I told up front that I wanted to, you know, be in IB and all this other stuff. And she was like, well, your math is behind, and the only options you have is to take an to take accelerated math in 8th, 9th grade, or like go to community college and take a program. And with my schedule, I'm not able to go to community college. So I was kind of like stuck. And then, so I kept talking to her about it, and she just basically was saying that I'm not able to take full IB, and at one point she said that I couldn't take IB at all. And so, you know, that kind of affected me because, you know, I worked so hard to get good grades all my life. Like I really, I don't know. And then when it came to the college piece, I was telling her like, you know, I want to go to Stanford, like, you know, I want to be a surgeon and all this other stuff, and I want to be like very involved in. And she was like, yeah, that's cool. And then she just kept giving me UC Davis and Sac State paperwork. And I told her specifically that, you know, I want to go to Stanford. I'm going to go to Stanford. And every time, like, I still have my binder where I have all her papers. It's just UC Davis application stuff, which UC Davis is a great school, but I told you where I want to go. And, you know, your job is to help me. And so I ended up, going to LC in 9th grade, and we were still confused on my math classes. We couldn't figure out what algebra, whatever it was, because I was in math 1 while still being in a whole bunch of honors classes. And so I ended up talking to my counselor there, and she said the same thing, you're not able to take full IB because your math classes. And so, I don't know, it really hurt me. And also for me, it's hard because I don't like to compare my stories to other people, but it's just I don't know. And then, so I don't know where I lost my train of thought, but it was hard because I did try to advocate for myself and try to speak up about what I was going, and they just kept and everybody knows everybody knows my work ethic, and I make that clear. I'm always vocal about what I want, what I need, and all this other stuff, and then they just kept trying to not deter me from going to where I wanted to go. And so now I'm not able to take full IB. And every time I go talk to my counselor, she tells me that, you're doing really well, but you're just behind in math. So that puts you on a lower pedestal from the other kids that are in your grade. And so, grades aren't everything to me, but it just hurts me that I tried so hard. My family tried so hard. And then,
Okay. First of all, I want to acknowledge that I heard everything that you said. I think that we need to get a lot more creative as your parents and as your mentors or whatever, to make sure you have alternate educational paths, right? So if you're behind in math, there are community college courses that you could take that would satisfy that math element. So I want to, Mike, I think you're on this. I think you're still here. Can we get with Sharina and see if there's a fix that we can put into place to make sure Trinity has whatever math it is that they're saying, or whatever class she can take at the community college level to satisfy that math requirement so she can get up to speed?
Yeah, we'll probably just need the details.
Okay. So, and of course it's going to be online because everything's online. So I think that we have to stop thinking inside a box. Sometimes, what do they say? The round peg won't fit into the square hole. And sometimes we just have to get creative with the fixes that we put into place. First of all, let me just tell you this. I never talked to a counselor my whole college career or high school career. They were absolutely unhelpful. Probably because they didn't look like me. Probably because they felt they knew what was best for me and that I didn't have a voice in what I wanted to do. I learned to read my school catalog in college, and that's how I got through college, because they were trying to send me on recreation and leisure, and I needed a degree in something I was interested in. So you have to, I know that we like to put a lot of stock into these counselors, but understand that they're gatekeepers, and we're trying to bust gates open. So if that traditional model does not work for you, I need to talk to your mom to see if alternative things are in place. Because I don't know what the benefit of an IB program is, probably because I never went through one. So you would have to explain to me why it's that particular program that you're interested in. What do they offer you? Is it just something to put on your resume, or what does it offer you, and why do you feel you need to be there? And are there anything comparable to that we can get you in? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I get IB. So my school doesn't have AP classes or honors classes, and I'm just really high achieving. And then also at middle school, they advertise throughout middle school, they set you up to put you in the IB program, is what it basically is at Eddie.
And somebody's asking, what is an IB program?
Oh, okay, so it's International Baccalaureate, and it's basically like a world scholar program, and you're supposed to learn like worldview and like perspective on different things. The best way I could explain it really is like it's kind of like an AP class, but it's
Do they
international.
transfer, Michael? Do they take them at the college level? Do those classes transfer over? Do you get an AA when you graduate? Do you get an AA when you graduate high school? Trinity?
Oh yeah, you basically enter college as a sophomore.
Yeah,
So
my
you're able
son,
to
Demar,
graduate early.
was an international baccalaureate student. So yeah, it gives you an accelerated.
Allegedly, but go ahead, go on. I mean, I hear what you're saying, but
I mean, he did benefit from it. So
they pick and choose, right? They pick and choose who's accepted into those programs, and they keep out those who they don't want in that program. That's why there's not a lot of us in those programs.
Yeah, you absolutely have to have an advocate.
Okay. I'm just trying to understand, the type of fight we're about to wage. I just need to know what we're talking about.
So, and then I guess my issue is, this is Mike, is that what is Stanford actually looking for? Because I get that counselors will steer you a certain way, but until you talk to those like your Berkeley's, your Stanford folks, that might not even necessarily be the path that they want you on. So
yeah,
I agree with counselors will not, they are gatekeepers. So
I know I talked to I have very like close close contact.
So how would letters of recommendation factor into that? So say if we found some alumni of Stanford and they vouched for you to get into Stanford, do you think that if you didn't have IB that would be something that they would let you in?
Yeah, they would definitely let me in.
Well, how about we talk to Michael Tubbs, who's up in Stockton, to see if we can't get a letter. Okay. See, easy fix. Let's do it. Because he's a BYLP alumni student. I taught Michael before he became the mayor of Stockton. So I think that if I send him, you'd have to write the letter, because I don't know. But if you write the letter and you send it to me, I'll have him put it on letterhead and we'll get it back to you. Okay. And I see Kamaya. Okay, now listen, y'all. It is 12:31. We are over time. I need y'all to go grab a snack because y'all gonna want some money for the Kahoot at 12:50. So let's go ahead and log off and get ready for Prentice. 12:50 is. Somebody said I'm good. You good? What you good about, girl?
I just want to say before we go,
Stephen, put that down. Stephen is trying. Stephen's still bragging. Y'all don't let him win the next one. I'm not playing.
Hey,
Jordan talking about he gonna kick you out of the Zoom.
Sincerely, thank you all for participating. Thank you for sharing with us. Our job is to help you, and we can only help you by your participation and your asking for our assistance.
That's right.
We will be there for you. This is not a group that's just going to sit here and placate and pacify you. As you can see from our president, she ain't big on biting her tongue when she thinks something is wrong. So this is not an organization that's going to sit back and let you continue to be harmed. The status quo will not fly.
And so Chloe's still trying to kick it in here. So Chloe's like, I ain't hungry. I'm going to stay right here.
So with that, thank you. And
thank you, Steph. Y'all give it up for Steph. Give them the hand claps in your boxes. Give them the hand claps.